I don't share much about PeopleRain with our community, but I'm going to break protocol. PeopleRain is the product version of the ethos behind this great Team Human community. Our team is passionate about giving the next billion employees back 4 to 6 hours of productive time per week. Hundreds of organizations around the world trust PeopleRain to automate work because it's the safest, most trustworthy, and smartest way to automatically execute thousands of common IT and HR tasks. Consider it the antidote to AI that's either creepy or that poses a threat to human jobs. I'm hosting a live webcast where I will show a demo of agentic AI in action. Register for the webcast at peoplerain.io. That's people, reign like the reign of a queen or king.io. Now back to this week's amazing episode.
Yo, it's the future, don't hit the snooze. AI is here giving humans the boost. Team Humans rolling, brains in the game with Dan Turchin. Y'all remember the name. People reign in the mix, no stopping the flow. Better work, better life, yeah, we're ready to go. Robots and humans, a collab, you know. Okay, let's start the show.
Dr. Ali, it's absolutely a pleasure to have you on AI and the future of work. Let's get started by having you share a bit about your illustrious background and what led you to start FieldAI.
Absolutely. Very, very happy to be here. I've been doing AI autonomy for almost 2 decades now. And prior to starting the company was with NASA JPL for about 7-8 years. And before that with industry, prior to that in academia at MIT. And across my career, been working on a variety of different robots and putting software and brains on drones and legged platforms and wheeled platforms. And started the company 3 years ago as we saw the hardware commoditization and improvement in edge computing and improvement in foundation models are bringing the field. It's a kind of a turning point for the physical AI, and started a company. And now we are focusing on building general purpose brains for different robotic embodiments, different environments, different tasks.
One of the challenges of bringing AI into the physical world is that the physical world has traditionally been occupied by humans. Part of the hard part is what you're doing, creating the technology. But there's also a hard part in being a human and coexisting with robots. Talk us through how you think about that part of the challenge of what you're building.
Absolutely. We see human-robot interaction as a very core and critical part of our mission. The architecture of our models or the software that sits on the robots by design calculates and measures the uncertainty and confidence in every action, every inference it makes. Meaning that if robots want to take an action, if it understands something, it also reports to you how confident it is. And the reason I mentioned this is the backbone of how we architect the human-robot interaction. Because if as a robot you're uncertain about something, you can ask questions from a human, from another robot, from another compute source. And this creates a very natural dynamics between human and robot to make decisions together and react. So that's sort of from the technical and architectural perspective on how and when sort of the interaction between machine and robot gets established. And in terms of the harmony of them being in a job site and together in the environment, it's very critical for the robot to share the intentions and what it's going to do so that the human is aware and this interaction becomes seamless and very natural.
When you think about the hardest problems that you're having to solve, has anything surprised you in terms of, from your experience, long distinguished background? Are there any particular hard challenges that FieldAI has solved that maybe you have ended up being harder than you expected?
I think what today is a little bit overlooked and we are not talking much about is the reliability of the solutions. Because it's two different things. It's one thing to do a lab demo, have a robot or a physical machine in a controlled environment perform a certain mission. It's totally another thing to embed that machine, a robot, into a customer workflow in an environment that it's there are gonna be a lot of unknown unknowns, unexpected events, and I think what we are now missing in the community, which one of the critical missions for FieldAI we are pushing for, is to make sure that when we embed these solutions into the real world, you have the right reliability. And to do so, we are going a step beyond what was in digital AI. So in digital AI, conversational AI, you have these end-to-end neural networks that learn based on data, more data, and gets better and better over time. But at the end of the day, even with trillions of tokens, these networks hallucinate. So there's some level of hallucination, which is very acceptable and tolerable in conversational AI because you can fix a few words in your text or email or message. Whereas when you come to physical AI, the tolerance for risk is lower. You are chasing nines at 9.999. And the key is now, it's not just about the data. Data would help, but it's also about the architecture of these solutions, that how you bake physics into these models. How do you bake confidence and uncertainty awareness into these models? And this has been I would say, probably one of the hardest thing ahead of physical layer of AI today, to bake those physics awareness, uncertainty awareness to ensure reliability of these solutions in the environment.
We have an unfortunate tendency to anthropomorphize the physical embodiment of AI. They see, they touch, we use very human-like adjectives. Not to bait the witness, but I'd like to know from an expert, where does that analogy work, and then where does it break down?
We hear a lot today about robots should be in a human shape, right? It should have 2 legs, 2 hands, humanoid. And in my opinion, while human-shaped robot is going to be a very important and general purpose platform that can do a lot of things, but my prediction is the field is going to evolve in a way that we are going to see hundreds of different form factors. Because at the end of the day, customers and different applications are going to optimize for what is best for them from cost, speed, performance perspective. So if you have a robot or if you have an application where the fingers needs to sort of fold backwards, and that would improve your ROI by 20%, you're going to build a robot that fingers fold backwards. You're not going to limit yourself. It has to be like human, especially if this is a repetitive task, if you're deploying a lot of things, right? So I believe as we have built cars, which doesn't have legs, as we built dishwashers that are very different than us, when we have built tools, this is just another tool. And of course, human shape and creating that parallel with us would be very helpful because a lot of worlds have been built for humans. But I think that's going to be just a sector of their business. And there will be a huge variety of these machines and platforms that are going to be optimized across the board for different applications.
I like how you answered that. I'm glad that was your answer. There are 8 billion of us here on the planet to do human tasks. What we need help with is the things that humans aren't good at doing. And oftentimes that's, lifting really heavy things or being in places that are unsafe for humans. And I like that as a leader in the field, you're thinking about augmenting the limitations of humans.
100%. In fact, in FieldAI, our focus, the market we are going after, is what we call DDD, dirty, dull, dangerous. And exactly as you said, we are seeing a lot of opportunities to make the job site safer for people. Right? In construction alone, a subsector of construction in the US alone, You have 40,000 severe injuries per year, more than 1,000 deaths. And as you mentioned, if you have a device that helps the human to just lift a little bit heavier thing and have less injuries. If you have a device that goes and finds, oh, here's a cliff, you forgot the barrier. Here's a slippery surface, right? And here's this scaffold needs an inspection at this point, right? It just would be making the job site more productive, safer, and 100% agree that these machines, the philosophy should be to expand human capacity, right? So we always are the dreams of human. There's no bound. We can do a lot more. We can build a lot more. We can do right, and having systems that helps us get closer and faster to our dream, like expanding capacity. I think is the way we should be looking at these machines.
We can't have this important conversation about what machines should do without also having the corollary conversation, what should machines not do? How do you think about the boundaries of what field AI should build, knowing also that you're making decisions about what not to do?
I think there are a lot of tasks that, in my opinion, we should think carefully about automating or having machines, specifically when tasks come to things that need emotion, right? You're taking care of somebody, you're doing certain services or tasks that that the human touch is really really important. If you're doing tasks that the creativity, the design, the strategic decision making that are very critical. These are or you're making decisions where someone's life or someone's well-being will be affected by your decision. In my opinion, in these we can help. Machines can help expand the capacity, but humans should be ultimate decision maker, ultimate supervisor, and the entity that executes the task. But yeah, there will be, I think, a large number of tasks that robots would take people out of harm's way, will do dirty, dull, dangerous tasks. And there will be a ton of tasks that it's always will be humans.
Jan LeCun famously said, if we're smart enough as a species to build AI, we're smart enough as a species to know when to turn it off. I think that applies more to the pre-physical embodiment of AI. How do you think about exercising AI responsibly and having an off switch, instrumented into what you do?
Responsible AI at FieldAI is the core of what we are building because, again, the core of the architecture we are pushing for is an architecture that is confidence first, uncertainty first, meaning that it not only generates a decision and understanding, but also equally focuses on generating its confidence, a certainty about what's happened. And a lot of challenges, a lot of things that can break that trust comes from the fact that you take an action, you're very confident, and that action is wrong. So it's a very interesting point. But if you actually don't know something, but if you tell the world that I don't know, people are happy, because it's okay if a robot doesn't know something I cannot do, but it should be able to reason in the meta level and say, okay, I'm going to take this action, but hey, everybody, I actually don't know what I'm doing. And if it has that feedback, it can adjust its speed. It can adjust its carefulness. It can adjust its behavior so that it can actually, like a human, suddenly if you're going through a door and lights are off and you don't see, you're going to slow down. You're going to start touching and see, okay, am I not going to bump into something, right? So robots that are aware of the uncertainty and the risk will bring that sense of trust, bring that sense of collaboration and coordination with human, because they keep communicating that what their intentions are, how confident they are in that intention, and hence increase the level of trust. So that's our angle to make sure human robot interaction and the trust of deploying these systems are baked into the architecture from day one.
Are there any examples of where you've had a customer or a prospective customer ask FieldAI to build something or do something that you feel like crosses an ethical or breaches an ethical threshold?
We are fortunate that we are in the industrial environment, and very harsh environments that almost all of what robots are doing, making somebody's life better, more productive, safer. So no, we have been now heavily focused on commercial industrialization, and that's going to be continuing to be the major focus of the company.
Famously, Isaac Asimov in the 50s coined his 3 rules for robots, one of which is robots can't harm humans. There's so many unintended uses of robots that FieldAI builds or could build in the future. How do you think about the unintended uses? Do you take responsibility for the ways that customers could use these very powerful machines that are kind of out of spec based on the way you designed them?
Almost any technology, a bad guy or less careful person or somebody who is too optimistic can take and misuse it, cause harm. We are trying to stop that from happening, prevent it, minimize chances by making sure we qualify the people who have access to these and making sure that they're well trained. They understand these machines and solutions at the highest level. But then also at the lower layers of the autonomy itself, there are many, many layers of safety are baked into these systems. The system looks at the geometry around itself and knows, the distances and forces and everything to avoid, physical touches or interactions that might be hurtful. It analyzes the world semantically. It understands, oh, this is an object and chair, that's a human. This is a moving car, that's a scissor lift, that's a truck. It goes beyond that. It understands the world contextually, not just the objects, but what is the relationship. So the robot behavior would change if a human is on a ladder versus human next to ladder, because that, although the same objects, but there's a different context and relationship. So all of those are big and getting big into the solutions so that these systems become like a colleague on the job site, somebody who you can trust. And that's where, again, goes back to the architecting them in a way that they can represent uncertainty, represent and communicate their confidence in everything, that in turn feeds back into their decisions and adjust their carefulness, speed, and the balance between how they execute tasks versus how much they spend energy to collect more information before they commit to an action.
Unbelievably, we're about out of time. We're going to get kicked out of our cozy room here at HumanX, but you're not getting off the hot seat without answering one last important question for me. You mentioned the 3Ds, bold, dirty, and dangerous. If you could pick maybe one example within one of the 3Ds about what makes you most optimistic about what it is that FieldAI is building, what problems that you will or you have solved or you will be solving?
There's so many, but if I take one, I would say we are seeing such a massive shortage in support and labor and difficulty in construction. And the world is building at an unprecedented pace. And we believe FieldAI will help. We believe we will make all those job sites a lot safer, a lot more productive, a lot more fun. And we help people to ask robots for dull, dangerous tasks, dirty tasks, and they supervise, they do more creative so we can build more, serve society better, so that we can be safer, go back home after the work, safe with no injury, Uh, and we are pretty excited about our expansion within the construction sector. But similar goes to the energy sector and mining and a lot of industrial sectors of manufacturing, which are really going to change the society in the next decade.
Well, you've got a good grounding in ethics, and you're doing it the right way. And so I celebrate your success, and I hope that we have many more opportunities to talk about the amazing things that you're doing.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming by. Good work.
Thank you very much.
Yo, it's the end of the show, time to power it down. AI's the sis, but humans wear the crown. Team Human in the house, got the vibe so clever. Dan Turchin from People Brain, making us better.
We learned about AI for humans. We're ready to conquer the future. That's all for now.
See you next time.